Hello, YouTube. I've been binge watching Moose Say It, Mouse Say It, whatever. I've been binge watching their videos about charging villains for their crimes, and I decided to have a stab at it, namely with the Dark Lord from Miitopia. Given the game is so old by now, I can't imagine you care about spoilers, but they're here nonetheless. I will disclaim, however, that I have no legal expertise whatsoever, and I'm going by the official list of laws in my personal jurisdiction. This video runs solely on my autism over Miitopia and may contain unintentional misinformation. But without further ado then, let's see what this guy has to serve. First question, what crime is this? It's the Dark Lord's main method of attack, so we're gonna have to figure this out. I went through a good few, but it settled in the end on battery. The crime of, quote, intentionally causing bodily harm to another person. Not felony battery, since that specifically knows that the damage or disability must be permanent, and the Dark Lord's face removal is very much reversible. However, we can still call this a felony, because every count of battery after the first is a felony of the third degree, and there's quite a few more than two. We know a ton of faces were stolen, but for the sake of simplicity, I'll only be counting the on-screen thefts. So that's 5 in Greenhorn Town, 2 for the Royals, 5 more for Next Door Town and the Genie, another 5 for the Elven Retreat and 3 for the Fab Fairies, 9 for the party, 2 during the boss fight, 6 during the rematches in the Skyscraper, and 6 more for the final boss. That's a total of 43 confirmed battery charges, 1 misdemeanor of the first degree for 1 year, and 42 felonies of the third degree for 5 years apiece. We're at 211 years so far. Not a great start, pal. Oh, but we're not done. Not even close. Let's look again at the cutscene, where the Great Sage is introduced saving the protagonist. Yep, pretty clear-cut case of second-degree attempted murder to me. That's what we call life. This clear-cut kidnapping of 3 people happens 3 times throughout the story for a total of 9, plus the NPCs reappearing in the Skyscraper implies they were kidnapped to be taken there too. Speaking of the Skyscraper, I forgot while tallying up the battery charges that the ex-Dark Lord has his face taken too, giving us another 5 years in the Slammer, but that's not much compared to the 15 kidnapping charges each worth a life sentence. I'm also not sure whether the power ceiling could be considered a battery charge as well. Since it doesn't really harm the player, I decided to let him off the hook for that unless a better charge could be found. Another crime I couldn't really charge was the possessions of the ex-Dark Lord and the Great Sage. I thought about coercion at first, but every definition I could find had the use of threats as a prerequisite, and I'm not sure whether this qualifies. Now this I can charge. The Dark Lord very clearly states an intent to kill the party, which for this fight is 4 people. While we can assume that the other 6 are also on his radar, he doesn't take action against them here, so I'll let him off for those, but this won't help him very much. I'm going to consider this premeditated because the Dark Lord knew the party was coming, so that's a first-degree attempted murder. There's also 10 more coming his way for the Darkest Lord fight, for a total of 14 life sentences. I wasn't completely sure about the other boss fights because the Dark Lord, while the cause of them wasn't personally present. Plus, that would take way too long. This, however, I can't ignore. The Dark Lord personally sicked this monster on the party with intent to kill them, lancing another 4 first-degree attempted murder charges. The final crime we'll address today is the control of the monsters through the stolen face parts. If we see most of the monsters as animalistic, this could be argued as animal abuse, since the definition of it isn't strict enough to exclude mind control. So there's a couple thousand counts of that. Okay, so unless there's anything I forgot, we're at a good 216 years for battery alone, plus 30 life sentences for kidnapping and attempted murder, as well as an unknown number of additional years for animal cruelty, and a few crimes that couldn't be successfully charged by me. Okay, so people who know more about the law than me, and people who have completed Miitopia again more recently than me, how did I do? This is probably going to be my only video of this sort, but I'd love to hear your feedback nonetheless. And if you got here, thank you for watching all the way through. Peace.